All right, Greg, thank you. Right now, the time is coming up on 8:49. Just a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about the military vaccine mandates because some deadlines had come and gone, and we were concerned as far as what this would mean for our military if people decided to hold out and what would happen moving forward.
Absolutely. One of those deadlines just passing yesterday. It was the Army deadline for all active duty Army service members to get vaccinated. And joining us live on the phone this morning is one of our Tennessee representatives, Mark Green. He's with District 7. Mark, Representative Green, you have military experience. You are a doctor. What are some of your concerns right now with these vaccine mandates, and do you think they're going to hold through next year?
Well, I think probably the biggest concern I have is for readiness of the force. You know, if you look at some of the state National Guards, especially, of course, their deadline's a little further out, but there are 44%. One state only has 44% vaccinated. You look at the Army, it's about 10% that isn't vaccinated, the active duty force. That's a huge chunk of people if they start kicking them out. Just imagine if 10% of your force just got up and walked away. And it's in the midst of all of this with Russia and the Ukraine and, of course, China and Taiwan. So it's a bad idea to start kicking these guys out of the military. The Air Force has already started doing it. They kicked 24 people out the other day. So I think that's probably my biggest concern for the country is just readiness. But then there's the freedom issue with these soldiers. These vaccines don't have longitudinal data. You know, most vaccines take 40 years to get approved, and we had to rush this one. You know, I think the vaccine is safe. I've said that from the beginning for people, especially at risk for COVID. But, you know, this is a readiness hit. And these soldiers are, basically saying, I don't want it right now because we don't have longitudinal data.
Representative Green, I'm curious. I know you wrote a letter talking about your concerns here. Have you heard back from the White House, from the Biden administration about this at all?
No, we haven't. And the letter that I wrote addressed federal contractors and federal, employees because certain employees have sued certain agencies and basically they won their court hearing saying that the president couldn't mandate it. So you've got some federal employees that are free of the mandate because of court rulings and some that aren't. So it's sort of a double standard. And as long as these court cases are being held, I asked the president to consider not enforcing his mandate, basically undoing it, because the courts have basically, the people who've sued the president have won every single case. So, that right now there's this double standard and that needs to go away. And I have not heard from the president, though.
Okay, good to know. Representative Green, one last question before we let you go. How do you, in your mind, how do these boosters and however many end up being required in order to be considered fully vaccinated, how do you think that's going to play into this?
If they add the booster, I think there'll be some percentage of people who say that's enough. I mean, natural immunity, most of the studies are showing that natural immunity, especially in young people, is better than the vaccine. So as that data begins to be compiled, people are saying, look, I had COVID. I'm 25 years old. I'm in great physical health. The risk to COVID is almost zero. Some would argue that 0.0004 is zero. But, there's no reason to put myself with the small risk that's there for the vaccine. I think there'll be a greater percentage that say, no, I'm not getting the booster. And I've heard that in our office calls from veterans or from, active duty soldiers.
All right, U.S. Representative Mark Green, we appreciate your time this morning. Thank you so much for your perspective.